Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and in this video, we need to talk about some rumblings I'm seeing going on in the Discord community and people chatting about things that they're seeing in the files of the game. I actually navigated to these publicly on my own computer. It looks like since the patch, there are some files and some pictures and some folders that people are coming across in the community. This isn't really some sort of crazy leak. This is already being discussed on Raid's public Discord server in the general public channels. It's just things that people are observing that I want to keep you in the loop on because that's what you subscribe to my channel for. So we're going to talk about these new images and maybe these new versions of bosses, and I will give you my reaction to what some of that means and the current state of dungeons and what this would mean if hard versions of the dungeons were added to the game and all of that. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so I should have had this up during the intro. Apologize for that, but you can see what the Fire Knight looks like there on the current stages, and it's got the more bright yellowish orange theme, and now this is very obviously a different version of the Fire Knight, a more beefed up hard version with the red face emanating and all of that. And we actually do have other bosses as well that we're kind of seeing in some of these pictures. We have also got this one right here that looks like a beefed up version of the current spider, and I know that is super scary, right? Beefed up versions of the Fire Knight and the spider. Those dungeons are already insanely hard until you get to the very end game. But yeah, anyway, it looks like with these images now being kind of data mined in the game and being out there, it looks like they are at least considering to move towards new versions of these different dungeons and maybe create hard versions of them. Like, we see in the campaign, you do normal and brutal and all the way up to nightmare. We may be getting something similar in the dungeons, where maybe you'll have the Fire Knight and then you'll have the Ultra Fire Knight or the Uber Fire Knight or Hard Fire Knight, whatever. They'll probably have some other version of these dungeons. And now I want to talk about what that could possibly mean, if it's a good thing and all that. So as we pull up the dungeon map, we do see this thing over here on the far right. Now, would this be a new dungeon that they introduced to the game? I know we kind of thought that this was going to be the accessory ascending dungeon, because right now we have the Sand Devil's Necropolis for ascending gear, but you can only ascend the artifacts like the weapons and the helms and the boots and stuff. You can't ascend rings, amulets, and banners yet. We always kind of thought that this dungeon over here on the far bottom right was going to be the dungeon that drops the necessary oil or whatever to actually ascend our accessories like our banners. But maybe it could theoretically be some sort of Uber dungeon where you open this up and then you pick the Uber bosses to fight. Or they could just have a system in game where you click on the Fire Knight and then you tab on over to the hard version or something. Or once you beat stage 25, it'll switch this to like a different version. I don't know. It'll just like automatically upgrade your Fire Knight's castle, and you'll have different. You'll have like a new version unlocked that you have access to. There's all sorts of different ways that they could implement this, obviously. So if they do add these new versions of these hard dungeons or whatever, I think they would probably go the route of having the mythical gear drop in these new dungeons. You can see like the Fire Knight one, it's got that deep red theme, and then the theme for the mythical gear is got that deep red as well. And if you're a new player to Raid, mythical gear is just going to be legendary gear that also starts with a bonus roll somewhere, and it's indicated by the red text. So like this stone skin shield that you see right here in my example in the video, it's a mythical shield and it starts with a bonus roll on that crit damage. That crit damage, if it was just a base legendary item, would probably be like 5%, but it starts at level 0 with a bonus roll on crit damage. So it's basically just legendary gear with a random bonus roll extra that you can get instead of the typical 4 that you would get at level 4, 8, 12, and 16. So if I had to guess what these upgraded dungeons would be, they would be maybe an increased energy cost, but there would be like 5 and 6 star gear, and maybe maybe it's gear that can only be epic or legendary, and it's gear that would have like a 5% chance or something of being mythical on top. It would be like epic, legendary, and mythical, and only 5 or 6 star, and then it would maybe have an upgraded energy cost of like 24 or something. I don't know exactly what the math would come out to, but I do think at some point we've got enough here and enough reason in the game that we will probably see a beefed up version of the dungeons at some point here in the next probably 8 to 16 months, somewhere in there. So then the next thing to talk about is, do I think this is going to be a good thing for Raid? Obviously, it's not a good thing for beginners and even mid-game players. It's very, very difficult to get to a stage on your account where you can farm level 24, level 25 consistently with 100% win rate and also decently fast and not taking like 5 minutes a run. So obviously, this is going to be a very end-game mechanic similar to the Hydra or the Sand Devil Necropolis or the Iron Twins. It'll be something for the players that have been playing for a very long time that they will be diving into to feel like they can continue progressing their accounts. Because I know even for me, like I'm not out here competing at the top of Platinum Arena, spending $50,000 or anything. I'm not even at the highest level of gear in this game. And even for me, dungeons are essentially worthless. I did a video recently talking about how I basically wasted, it was something like 3,000 energy. I slammed 3,000 energy into the Fire Knight during the Savage Gear Artifact Drop Fever, whatever they call it, and it was basically completely wasted. I didn't get anything. So, you know, I'm already at a point where I instantly sell probably 95% of what drops, and then of the 5% of stuff that drops that I end up rolling, the vast majority of it is an instant sell because it hits flat stats or something. Like after you get to a point where you've done over 100,000 dungeon runs over the course of many years that I've been playing, it means the odds of me dropping and rolling something from the current iteration of the dungeons in game is so insanely low that you almost feel like you're just flat out wasting resources even trying to grind the dungeons. Obviously, we still need to, because you know we still have to progress our account and spend the energy that we're generating somewhere, but you do get to a point eventually where the current iteration of dungeons is essentially worthless to even bother trying to grind and realistically feel like you're going to get any progress. And I guess I can just pull it up and show you really quickly what I'm talking about. But yeah, so there was a Fire Knight tournament that I spent 3,000 gems almost on, and I literally got 5 pieces that I was excited about, and they are all over here on the right. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the pieces that I actually thought were gonna progress my account. Out of the 3,000 gems spent, over 500 drops. There was 5 that I thought would be worthwhile to really add to my account. And then this next one, I spent the 2,700 energy during the 3x Savage event and literally didn't get anything that I felt like would progress my account. So that's kind of the context behind what I'm talking about on the current iteration of the dungeons for players like me that have been playing for a long time in the game. So yeah, I think this is going to be happening at some point, and I would love to hear what you think about this. Where do you stand? I'll probably do a poll over on the community tab of the channel. We do polls every day here on the channel. Remember to subscribe down below so that you can stay in the loop on exactly how the community is feeling on the different things kind of happening in the landscape of Raid. I'll always do my best to cover the news for you and make sure you know about things like these new images with the Ultra Fire Knight and the Ultra Spider and all of that. And I'm going to try to make an infographic kind of laying out everything we know. I'm going to keep gathering today. I'm kind of getting you in the know as soon as I know something, but I'm also going to be working today to gather everything I can and lay out some infographics for you, and I'll post that over on the community tab as well and all of that, so you know exactly everything that is going on. But would love to hear your thoughts. Like I said, would you be excited for more options and more difficult things, more uber bosses in the dungeons, or would you hate that? Do you think it's a bad direction for Plarium to go? Should they be doing something else? Always enjoy reading through those comments and then talking about it in future content. So that'll do it for me on this one. As always, thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.